Here are 5 moves that I think set the Yankees up to be a championship caliber team now and in the future, short term and long term. You tell me what you think. Let's get into this. Everybody, hope you're having a great weekend so far. Still early weekend, but here are 5 moves I think that'll set the Yankees up for the near term and the long term as a championship caliber team without hamstringing them in the future financially, because that's something that's clearly a concern with Hal Steinbrenner and some other folks as well. But again, fans still want you to have a championship caliber team. So how can we put together something that's going to set you up? These are my thoughts. Okay. Number one, the great white shark. Okay. Juan Soto. We know it. He's the biggest fish out there. He's a generational player, lefty hitter, contact, power, on base percentage machine, elite eye. Okay. And this is a guy, he's got 1 year of control left. So he's his last year of arbitration, which is going to be at $30 million plus. It's in itself. But that said, he'll be the long-term commitment, I think, for the Yankees. Okay. And he will be a worthwhile long-term commitment. And if there's a concern at all, you throw an opt-out into the contract if they can, if he's willing to take it. Scott Boras is his agent. He likes opt-outs because he likes his clients to be able to cash in free agency twice. So if you give him a 12-year deal, you throw an opt-out after 5 years, he can go back on the market at 30. So, but he's the guy that the Yankees, if the Yankees are going to get one bat this offseason, it has to be him. Hands down. Does Hal trust Cashman enough to do it? I don't know. Is Hal going to be the one to do it? No idea. We'll see what happens. Now, on the flip side, pitching, another big commitment. They need to add a piece to the rotation, and Yoshinobu Yamamoto represents that piece. Just like Juan Soto, he's 25 years old. He's another guy that, with a long-term commitment, would putting an opt-out in his contract, probably at 5 years as well. So he can also go on the market at 30 years old. Doesn't hamstring the Yankees long term. But at the same time, capitalizing on the next 5 years for Soto and Yamamoto, while we're in the prime years of Garrett Cole and Aaron Judge, is an absolute fantastic way to do things, in my opinion. And I want to know what you think, okay? You know, your opinions might differ, so make sure to subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so yet. I thank you so much for doing it. If you do, hit the notification bell. That way you're always in the front of the line to get content and breaking news as it comes in. Okay? That's my promise to you. And again, it means the world. I thank you for that. But those are the 2 pieces, okay? We don't know what's going to happen. Now, we've heard, and I spoke about this last night on the live stream with some of the guys, that Jordan Montgomery has expressed a preference to come back to the Yankees, have a reunion with the Yankees. We don't know. Is that going to be expensive? Maybe. But Yamamoto, I think, has got to be the first domino to fall. He's got to be the pitcher that we have to get. Okay? He's 25 years old. Again, can have an elite army, and you put him in the rotation with Garrett Cole and Carlos Rodon and whoever you have after that, you're going to be in good shape. 3-headed monster on top of the rotation. Now, let's just say, if they get Yamamoto and somehow get your Jordan Montgomery as well, they bring in 2 studs for the rotation. That's going to make it expensive for them to add somebody like a Cody Bellinger. So this is where the creativity comes into play, right? This is where you try to trade with the St. Louis Cardinals in the multiplayer trade. This is Brendan Donovan. Okay? 26-year-old, left-handed hitter. He plays infield and outfield. Okay? He's a high on-base percentage, low strikeout, contact hitting machine. Coming off a little bit of an injury, but he's one of the major pieces in the Cardinals. Also, a surplus of position players there. And they need lots of pitching. And bringing in Yamamoto and potentially even him and Jordan Montgomery, or even just Yamamoto alone, makes it easier for the Yankees to trade pitching. I would be okay sending a Michael King, who has 2 years of control, as well as a Randy Vasquez and maybe a Chase Hampton or something like that, and a position player too, over to the Cardinals for Brendan Donovan. And if there's any way you could package him for somebody like Nolan Gorman. Okay. Now, the Yankees have shown interest in Alec Burleson as well. But Gorman's a bigger get. He also, just like Burleson, has 5 years of team control. So, but if you look at his stats, 27 home runs, you would be replacing production here. And what do I mean by that? Well, Nolan Gorman also has positional versatility in infield. So this is a way you can actually put Donovan in the outfield if you want and put Nolan Gorman in the infield. Or you can put Donovan at third and Gorman at second, making it easier to trade somebody like a Gleyber Torres. Okay. You've now replaced his offense with on the cheap with 5 controllable years. And bringing in Donovan and Nolan Gorman means you don't necessarily have to go for Cody Bellinger either. Okay, you got your infield, you got your outfield there, and you've done it on the cheap. Because Cody Bellinger, the fact of the matter is, he's probably going to run 175 to $200 million. And now you've got these position players. And what does that mean you do with Gleyber Torres? Well, I'm going to try to call the Chicago White Sox and get Garrett Crochet, left-handed reliever. Okay? So we have our starter in Yamamoto. We have our lefty bat superstar in Juan Soto. We have our 2 contact hitting lefty bats, on base percentage guys, Brendan Donovan and Nolan Gorman. Even if it's Alec Burleson, that's fine, but Brendan Donovan's got to be the key piece. Okay? And lastly, a reliever like Garrett Crochet, who's got 3 years of arbitration left. So you've got the long-term commitments in Soto and Yamamoto, and then you've got the short-term guys here, like Garrett Crochet. He's got 3 years of arbitration. He's only 24. It gives you a good lefty reliever. And I know they're showing an interest in bringing back Wandy Peralta, but having another reliever on top of that would be a good idea. And what better way to move Gleyber Torres than for controllable left-handed relief pitching, okay? And replacing his offense with Donovan and Nolan Gorman. So you let me know what you think, guys and gals. Okay, Juan Soto, you got Yoshinobu Yamamoto. And again, those are the 2 expensive guys, which is why I'm offsetting them and balancing them with 3 arbitration guys. Short-term guys, okay, who more than would replace Cody Bellinger's production and Gleyber Torres' production, okay, would represent lefty bats. 3 of them, you'd have more guys to put in front of Giancarlo Stanton. You'd have more guys to put in front of Aaron Judge, more guys to surround this and balance this lineup out. You'd have another ace-level pitcher to add to the starting rotation and a power reliever to add to the bullpen. And again, not only sets the Yankees up short-term, but if they decide to keep Juan Soto and Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who are only 25 years old, you have those long-term pieces as well. But if they do decide to opt out, you've got probably $70 million in cash to play with at that point to replace them with other players. So let me know what you think. These are my 5 moves that I think can set the Yankees up for a championship caliber team. And if there's any money for other positional players, other role players, then you can add them as you see fit. But this also leaves room for moving, if you need to, move an Oswald Peraza to St. Louis, right? Or to Chicago. Because you're replacing him and Torres essentially with Gorman and Donovan. You would be. And or if Donovan plays outfield, right, for a little while, and then moves to the infield, you still have those 2 infield spots covered. Okay, but his versatility comes in play here too, because it also gives you room to go back to the utility position for DJ LeMahieu. Okay, and should Anthony Rizzo move on after this year, you can move DJ to first. You've got third base and second base covered here, and you have room to bring Jason Dominguez back in center field while Luis Sojo is platooning left field. And now you have an outfield of the future right here. Soto, Dominguez, and Judge. And then you have an infield, Donovan, Volpe, Gorman, DJ, or whoever else you might have at first base. So let me know what you think, gang. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk into it. Let's talk about this. Load up the comments. If you have 5 different moves, let me know what they are and why you have the move. And let me know what you think of my logic behind these moves, if it makes sense to you, or whether you agree with them or disagree with them. Because this, I think, is a more possible scenario than Soto, Yamamoto, and Cody Bellinger. financially, I think it's a more realistic scenario because you're getting 3 guys here with controllable years. We have the pieces to get them. They're on the cheap. And in combining them with 2 expensive players, which is still allowing Austin Wells to develop, and still allowing Anthony Volpe to develop, and some of these other guys to develop. So let's get into it. Talk to you next time.